Central Indiana Division of the National Model Railroaders Association trade show at the Johnson County Fairgrounds.
Our type of layout is an N-TRAK layout. It's a modular layout.
So everything at the show today, as far as the displays, are N-TRAK?
No, they're not.
Oh.
There's more than one scale here. N-TRAK is only an N scale, and the scale is defined by the distance between the rails. So we have O scale, and we've got S scale, we got N scale, which is what we do. The most popular one is HO scale, and that is twice the size of N scale. Now, N scale became named N scale because it was 9 millimeters between the tracks. It started with N, so they decided to use N as the name for the particular scale. It's half the size of HO, and we can get a lot done in a small space.
The club's name came from the minister. If you'll notice, we're named CINTRAK, Central Indiana N-TRAK, but it's also a sin. N-TRAK's a neat concept because it allows you to run a lot of trains, and it gives the public something to see. We've mentored a couple of kids. A couple of them were being picked on in high school. And we mentored them and told them it was okay to enjoy what they do. They went out to Kansas and went to a railroad school out there. And I'm so proud of these two boys, Justin Sandlin and Riley. Oh, I forgot Riley's last name. Kofer. Riley Kofer. Justin works for he is a conductor for the BNSF Railroad, and Riley is kind of an interesting individual. He wanted to run the Hoosier, and that was his goal, to work for Amtrak. Well, he got hired on at Norfolk Southern, and Riley is, I would hope that we helped mentor him into the point of being very organized. A long story short, Riley worked for Norfolk Southern as a conductor. Then he went to work for Amtrak up in Chicago as a dispatcher. There was a video I was watching, and I heard Riley's voice up in Michigan talking to a railroad up there about clearing for the Amtrak. Then Riley was to be an engineer, and he was supposed to be slated for the Hoosier. Well, Trump took over, and they cut a lot of things down. Now Riley was running to Hiawatha out of Milwaukee. Well, now Riley's been promoted, and now he's the a manager for Amtrak in the Center Division. So he doesn't have a college education, but I would like to think that we had something to do with that. He's a really good kid, and very proud of him. Digital command control is a system of using AC power. This now system controls, I call it voodoo direct electronics, because I just can't fathom this. You can run 999 engines on a single piece of track. They can go back and forth. They don't all have to go the same direction. It's changed the way you can model railroad.
All right, here we have a module that was designed and developed by a gentleman that lived in southern New Mexico, down in that little notch between the Mexican border and Arizona. And he was a longtime member, and so the scenery that he has on this module is to represent the scenery that was around this little house in the little ranch that he grew up in southern New Mexico. And it gives you an idea of what we can do. We can make the mountains, we can make the tracks go around the mountains. We don't have any tunnels on this one, but sometimes we can do tunnels. And everything that represents a railroad can be done in these model railroads. And you see so you can get the locomotive. All right, this train is representative of the type of trains that currently run through this section of the United States. Union Pacific locomotives are pulling this train, and they have a lot of stacks that they're pulling. These are stacked containers like they use on ships. They also stack them on these well cars, is what we call these. And we can carry a lot of goods a long distance with these type of cars. So you'll see these cars on railroads that are running long hauls, like from the East Coast to the West Coast, or the East Coast into the central part of the United States, or even the West Coast, all the way up and down the West Coast. They will run stack trains like this. Now this module here is a 3-module group that represents the San Joaquin Valley in California. And this is the famous train station in San Joaquin. And it's vintage 1958. So at that time, the Santa Fe Railroad was the one that ran through there. So you can see from the depot building that they've got the markings for the Santa Fe Railroad and that. And then now you're branching off to, as you leave the station, you know, you're going to get into a couple industries, like they do some oil out there, and we move on into away from the San Joaquin location. Now we're moving into a central Indiana type of town, just like the town we're in now in Franklin. You can see the downtown area, the buildings, the vintage buildings from those, and we've got a small depot here on the layout in one of the spurs where the trains can stop. More of an industrial section of the city. We've got a little spur line that goes off from the trackage, so we can get to some buildings and that. And now we get into more of a rural area of a place like Indiana. There's a name for this particular 2-module set. It's called Pittsburgh. So if you remember Pittsburgh, Indiana, the gentleman that built these modules has built up his representation of what Pittsburgh looks like. Now we have a passenger train from the old New York Central days. It's just passed through the Pittsburgh modules. And this passenger train is representative of somewhere around the 1945 time frame. And this module here, a little bit different type of area because they've got some elevated roads. Now this is a module that's under construction. So they don't have any scenery on it yet. They've just finished the track work so that they can get trains to run all the way through the module. And they'll be spending the next several months developing their scenery that they're going to apply to the module. Once again, this is digital command control, where we have a way to control the trains in all directions. We have a way to control the lights on the train, and some of the trains have sounds. And so we can duplicate all the sounds that the trains would make from the rumble of the engines. If it's a steam locomotive, we can get some chuffing sounds. We get the whistles and the horns. And now this module here, we're going back out to the southeast or the southwest plains of southern New Mexico.
What else can I tell you about it? The artistry of the layouts. You can build buildings. You can do it however you want to. You can buy the kit, or you can just start with a piece of plastic and make a house or make a building or whatever. You start seeing things differently as you become a modeler. You start saying, how would I make that? Oh, that's how I would make that. Then you start seeing the nuances of houses. The roof on this house behind it, and if you look at the chimney's got it's got slate rock on it. It's not brick. Well, it's like, yeah, that's cool. And so you start seeing nature, and you see everything differently. I enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. My wife likes it because I get out of the house now.
Thank you for watching today. We hope you enjoyed it. And here's more information if you're interested.